Good evening, everyone. Welcome to JFall 2021. Hope you had a great day attending all the sessions and visiting all the booths outside. My name is Saee Kamat, and I work as a software design engineer at Asml in Germany. I have a total of 12 years of work experience in software development using Java and IT project management spanning across India, Singapore, and now Germany. I joined ASML in January 2021 and have been working on the development of their analytics platform since then. On a personal front, I'm born and raised in India, and I now live in the beautiful and very historic city of Dresden in Germany, together with my husband and my 8-year-old son. So when I'm not working, I'm keen to understand the interplay of technology with society and curious to know how the socio-economic landscape will look for us in the coming years. ASML, sometimes known as the most important tech company that you've not heard about. So how many have not heard about ASML yet? Okay. So for those of y'all who have not heard about ASML yet, we are the world's largest suppliers of lithography systems for the semiconductor industry. We are headquartered in Veldhoven, the Netherlands, and our customers span across all the major chip manufacturers in the world, be it Samsung, Intel, or TSMC. Can you imagine a world without silicon chips? So to start with, there would be no computers, no smartphones, no gaming consoles, no digital cameras. In fact, silicon chips are also found in less obvious places. Take a look at your car, for example. It consists of dozens of silicon chips, right from microcontrollers that regulate your engine to sensors that detect rain and start your windshield wipers. So silicon chips are everywhere. So a car is basically a computer on wheels. Then right from medical imaging scanners to household smoke detectors to washing machines, all of these equipments, they rely on silicon chips. In fact, very few inventions have transformed and continue to transform the world as dramatically as the invention of the silicon chip. The semiconductor industry actually has been a global economic catalyst, and we've especially seen this in the year 2020. The industry shipped a total of about 1 trillion chips in 2020, leading to total sales of about $440 billion in 2020. That's like up from $300 billion in 2007. So where does ASML fit in all this? In very simple words, ASML builds the machines that are required to manufacture the chips. So we design and we manufacture lithography systems that are an essential component of the chip-making process. So they're essential component of the chip-making process. Our customers, they use our machines in something called fabs, which are the chip-making plants, in order to manufacture the chips, which then go into your electronic devices, like your computers or your mobile phones. And since all the major chip manufacturers in the world are our customers, there is a very high chance that almost every day you're using at least one device which is partially manufactured on our machine. ASML actually started from very humble beginnings as a joint venture between Philips and ASMI, with just 31 employees having a very strong can-do attitude. In 1992, actually, we hit an all-time high by making our first sale to IBM. In 1995, we went public, and this brought us all the money that was required to speed up with our R&D. Today, the landscape looks completely different. We are Europe's biggest tech company by market cap. So when you listen to all this, it sounds as if ASML is a hardcore high-tech hardware company. But you'll be very pleasantly surprised to know that we have one of the largest and the most pioneering software communities. Because our lithography systems, they're actually a hybrid of high-tech hardware and advanced software. We have development teams that are working across a range of software coding practices, delivering the most innovative solutions to the most intricate problems that affect the chip-making process in the electronic industry. So if you're interested in knowing more about this high-tech industry, and if you haven't visited our booth yet, then please make a visit. Okay. The topic I would like to discuss today is, will the rise of artificial intelligence mark the fall of society? So, what have been the positive impacts of AI on our society so far? How does ASML leverage the power of AI? What are the potential threats of this technology? And what should be done to ensure that the goals of AI and society are well aligned? So let's get started. So this is our new normal. Facial recognition, personal digital assistants, advanced driver assistance, chatbots, search engines, navigation systems. So you and I, we are interfacing with AI and almost all of its subdomains, almost all through our day, even without our knowledge. Artificial intelligence is having a profound impact on our society. Even though R&D in the field of AI dates back to the 1950s, never has AI felt more ubiquitous than now. On one hand, we have business organizations that are so heavily investing in, say, machine learning, in task automation, in robotics, in order to reap competitive financial returns. On the other hand, we have governments that are funding high-cost AI R&D programs to uplift their societies from technological breakthroughs. If you have a look at this report by Grandview Research, you can see that the total market size of AI-driven solutions as of 2021 has been about 93 billion US dollars. And the revenue that is being forecasted for 2028 is as high as 997 billion US dollars. So that is like a tenfold increase in just a period of 7 years. So this rapid growth clearly proves that AI is making progress at an unprecedented rate. So let's start with the good. I think we are all aware of the positive impacts that AI is having on our society. Thanks to big data, thanks to cloud computing, advanced computational power, all of these technologies, they have led to growth, power, and impact of AI in the last few years. If you take a look at healthcare, for example, AI in healthcare offers both quality as well as the cost of care. We've had AI solutions offering us support to discover drugs, to develop tailored treatments for patients, and to treat diseases early enough to avoid their spread. Especially during the pandemic, we've had AI solutions very closely interfacing with, for instance, CT scanners in the hospitals to scan through images of lungs, to find traces of the virus, and to assess the lesions. So normally, this is the task of a very experienced doctor, who are unfortunately limited in number. But machines have helped us to perform this task in just a few minutes, thereby helping us to track the disease and to prevent its spread. Then we have agriculture. So how has AI helped us here? I think we know that the amount of land that is available to us is limited, and we need to continue feeding a growing population. So how does AI help us here? We've had robots who have been plowing our fields and sowing our crops, doing it much faster and more efficiently than humans would. Then we have computer vision and deep learning algorithms that help us to monitor the health of crops as well as our soil. And then we have predictive analytics, which is based on ML models that helps us to predict the impact of different environmental factors on our crop yield. And then we have the well-known transport sector. In the transport sector, advanced driver assistance, high precision maps, all of these have been promising us passenger safety as well as pedestrian safety. Of course, in addition to quality, cost, and environmental benefits. It's actually estimated that just a 10% adoption of autonomous driving vehicles in the US alone will help us to save about 1,100 lives per year and about 38 billion US dollars per year. So, how does ASML leverage the power of AI? As we already touched on, at ASML, innovation is our lifeline. It is the engine that drives our business. So, needless to say, ASML invests heavily in AI. So, software is our key differentiator. This is because our customers expect nanometer precision. As the chips continue to decrease in size, it would be impossible for our customers to manufacture at such small dimensions without the help of the software that we develop. So with the combination of physics and the power of machine learning, we are able to build high precision maps that help us to optimize production for each customer, to detect defects, and to make corrections very quickly and accurately. Our machines, they are able to train themselves to maintain the high level of accuracy that is required throughout the manufacturing process. And our machines, they not only detect the defects, they're also able to explain why such an issue occurred, and this helps us to prevent downtimes. So to summarize, AI helps ASML to increase customer value. How? By increasing nanometer precision, reduce costs for ASML, and reduce time to market. So if all is good, then what is the problem? So despite all the positivity, AI has still been fueling ethical concerns in the minds of many. Several well-known public figures have come out of their way to express their concern over the widespread adoption of this technology in our society. Late Stephen Hawking, for example, he said that the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. Elon Musk, for instance, constantly keeps saying that with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. So what are the technological risks that are associated with AI? Before we touch on that, I think we all know that computers are getting smarter with time. ASML, for instance, is driving Moore's law, which means more computational power, which means more advanced calculations, which means more and better machine learning algorithms. So while this is all good, what is the issue? The first technological risk of AI-driven solutions is their inability to explain their decision-making logic. So humans still have difficulty in finding out how a system arrived at a specific conclusion. This is because deep neural networks, they consist of thousands and millions of connections, and each one adds a small amount to the final decision that is being made. As a result, such systems, they don't offer a explicit, clear explanation. As a result, it's hard to know whether how a specific medicine, for instance, was prescribed to a patient, or how a specific candidate was shortlisted over the other. And this leads to two issues. The first one is incomplete training data. So our conventional systems have relied on explicit logic rules. But deep neural networks, for instance, rely on training data. And this can be a huge concern, especially if your training data does not represent all the use cases or the scenarios that have to be supported. And this is a concern if you're dealing with mission-critical applications. For example, you're trying to control a nuclear power plant, or a life or death decision needs to be made. The second issue is with respect to hidden biases. So such systems, they may have hidden biases, which is not really derived from the intention of the designer of the system, but really from the training data that is fed to such systems. For example, you're building a solution whose job is to shortlist candidates for an interview. And it relies on training data, which is based on decisions made by human recruiters in the past. It may inadvertently inject the gender, the ethnicity, and other such biases into its own decision-making process. And these biases, they will not appear as explicit rules in the system that can be eliminated, but they're going to be a part of subtle interactions among thousands of other factors that are being considered to make a decision. The second technological risk of such solutions is the evolving nature of the programs. So some ML programs, they may iterate or evolve over time, inadvertently altering their own behavior along the way. For example, if you have a system that is designed to achieve a positive goal, over time, it may identify destructive methods to achieve that same goal. And this usually happens when we fail to align our goals with that of the system. For example, if I have an intelligent, obedient car and I tell it to take me to the airport as fast as possible, it may take me there. So while this is what I expect, it may take me there, chased by helicopters and killing pedestrians on the way, doing not what I wanted it to do, but what I literally asked it to do. In addition to the technological issues, AI is also leading to a digital divide and unemployment. I think we all know that almost every job that humans can do, machines can do it faster, better, and cheaper. While one production working hour costs the German automotive industry more than 40 euros, the same job is now being done by robots for anywhere between 5 to 8 euros per hour. And it's not just the blue-collar jobs. AI, big data, advanced analytics, they are leading to unemployment also in clerical services and professional jobs. As a result, white-collar jobs, like, for example, a customer service, is getting obsolete. And this technological advancement, it is further widening the gap between economic winners and the losers. In the finance sector, for example, we have solutions that are being built almost every other day in order to detect fraud and assess loans, for example. So if you have a person who builds a solution to automate all of your tax work, he may end up earning thousands and millions of euros while eliminating yet another profession, that of the tax consultant. So how do we move forward from here? In May 2019, the OECD, or the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, defined guidelines for a more responsible deployment of AI in our society. And these guidelines were agreed upon by governments. So we'll have a look at 3 of them. The first one is inclusive and equitable growth. So since AI solutions are generating substantial amount of wealth, it's very important to have an open debate about how the economic wealth generated by such solutions should be more fairly distributed amongst all sectors of the society and not just limited in the hands of a fortunate few. Next is transparency and explainability. We need to be able to explain to the end users what a program does, how it does it, and more importantly, what are the different factors that are taken into consideration while making a decision for them. And third is accountability. We need to be able to place responsibility on the right organization or a right person for a correct functioning of an AI solution. For example, who's responsible when a self-driving car crashes? Or who's responsible when an incorrect medication is prescribed to a patient. And especially in situations where life-critical decisions are being made, maybe it's advisable to have a human in the loop. For example, you have a solution that sentences a criminal to death, or these kind of situations, a human should be in the loop to make a decision. And additionally, we need national policies to make sure that we promote trustworthy AI. So the first one is investment in AI R&D. So we need to increase private as well as public funding in interdisciplinary studies, not just a technological study, to ensure that such solutions are being analyzed from all perspectives. Skill building. There is a huge change taking place in the workforce. As a result, governments need to step up to make sure that the right training, the right educational opportunities and continuous learning opportunities are provided to majority of the workforce so that they are skilled enough to deal with the change. And what are the ethical concerns that I can keep in mind as a software developer? The first one is explainability. So document what your algorithm does, document why it does it, and as mentioned, what factors are being considered before making a decision. Explain what data goes in, explain what data comes out. Algorithmic auditing. This is something that needs to be carried out on a periodic basis to make sure that your algorithm still does what it is supposed to do and it is still fit for use. If you remember the evolving nature of ML programs. Third is data privacy. So when you're building your algorithms, make sure that, or at least try that your algorithm relies on no or minimum private data. And if this is not possible, make sure that the data that you're dealing with is anonymized, encrypted, and very securely processed. And fourth is data inclusivity, which means set up your training data in such a way that it represents majority of your target population and not just a fortunate few. And during the entire development process, review your algorithms as well as your data for any kind of unintended biases, and as soon as you find them, eliminate them. Okay, so to conclude, when we analyze the positive impacts of AI on our society, it's very easy to conclude that AI is the most important general purpose technology of our era. AI in itself is not a threat to mankind and society, but it is how the technology of AI will be applied that will determine its ultimate impact on our society. Because when AI is applied with good intent, it is powerful enough to fix some of our society's most pressing problems. And the same AI, when it is misused, is powerful enough to disrupt our society. Therefore, before initiating any technological development in the field of AI, please make sure that the goals of AI and society are well aligned. Thank you for joining.